Good evening, friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Adit. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, then please subscribe to it. And if you like my videos, then please share them with your friends, family, relatives, everyone as much as possible. So, friends, today I'm going to share my insights with you on a very interesting subject. You must have heard this word very commonly nowadays. And in last, say, you can say 10 to 15 years, it has become more and more common, especially in terms of, professional field or in terms of career or even at times at your personal level also, like in terms of family, friends, etc. This word is very commonly used, and it is not only commonly used but it is considered as one of the most desirable and one of the very good qualities to have. And not only it's a good quality, but it is also considered as a very desirable and need to have skill, and that is convincing power. So, you must have heard this word convincing or convince or convincing power. Or, people say to each other that this person has a very good convincing power, or, you don't have a good convincing power, or his convincing power is very poor, etc. etc. So, this word, this phrase, this concept is very commonly used, and people look at it as something which they should have, a quality or a virtue or a skill which they should have. So first of all, it is true that it's a good quality. Like if you have a very good convincing ability, if you can convince people, if you can, make them believe or make them agree to what you are saying, if you have that ability, no doubt it is a good quality. So first of all, let me clarify that it is a very good quality, no doubt about it. And it is even it is some good to develop it also. If you think that if you don't have a convincing power, then it is good to take some efforts to develop that. So again, there is no doubt about it. But in today's video, I'm going to tell you how this concept of convincing power is at times misused, and basically it is used to manipulate the other person, or it is used to somehow make that person feel that he or she is inferior. I will explain that to you in this video. So it's a going to be a very interesting video. Stay tuned and watch till the end. So friends, when we talk about this word convince, what does it mean actually? Let's first understand that. So in simple language, the word convince means that, suppose I am saying that I am trying to convince you. So what I'm saying that I am basically making efforts to make you agree with what I'm saying, or I am making efforts from my side to make you understand what I'm saying, right? So that is called convincing in simple language. Now, if you, I was thinking about it the other day, and I found it very interesting that this concept, as I said, it's a good quality, it's good to have, all said and done. But if you observe this concept very closely, you will find that the foundation of this concept, all the concepts, all the ideas, they are all based on a particular foundation or a particular base, we would say. So I feel, this is my personal opinion which I'm expressing here. I feel that this concept of convincing someone is based on the foundation of ego, human ego. I will explain why I am saying this. Suppose we are having a conversation, and you are trying to explain something to me. Okay. Now, in ideal scenario, under normal scenario, forget about this convince and convincing power for a minute. Just keep it aside. Just imagine under normal or usual scenarios, what should be the ideal situation? Now, if you are telling me something, you are explaining something which I don't know, okay? Or if you are explaining something to me which is, say, of my benefit, that's why you are explaining it to me that, okay, Adil, this is of going to be of you, this is going to be of benefit to you. So listen carefully what I'm saying. So this way you are explaining something to me. Now, as a listener, what should I do ideally? Ideally, I should make efforts from my side to understand what you are saying. Because you are explaining me something, you know that stuff already, right? You are just trying to convey that, or you are just trying to pass on that message to me. So as a listener, as a good listener, if I am a good listener, what should I do? Ideally, I should make efforts from my side to comprehend what you are saying or to understand what you are saying, right? This is number one. Number two, if somehow I am not able to understand what you are saying, or if somehow I am not able to agree to what you are saying, what should be my next step? I should convey that to you very, very clearly, honestly, and humbly, that somehow I am not able to understand what you are saying, or somehow I am not able to agree to what you are saying. So please explain to me in more details. Or you can say that, okay, please explain to me once again. If it's a, you can say a short conversation, you can ask that person, or I can ask you, for example, that please explain to me once again. I did not get it exactly, right? This is how a normal conversation should go. But here, if I am an egoistic person, or if I have when you say egoistic, it does not necessarily mean a person who is rude or who is arrogant or who is shouting at other people. It's not like that. Only that is not, that is one example of being egoistic, being arrogant and rude. But not necessarily every person has that kind of ego. Most of the people have a different type of ego that is called subtle ego. Subtle means something which is very minute, which you cannot see with, which you cannot see or you cannot recognize it very quickly, but it is there. Even that person himself or herself may not be able to recognize that he or she is egoistic, but that they have a very little minute ego, subtle ego inside their mind that plays tricks in such cases. So if I am egoistic, if I have that subtle type of ego in me, what I say is, instead of suppose like I have to ask you, as I said, that number one, if I am not understanding, I have to ask you that please explain to me once again, I did not understand it. So in that, first of all, I have to accept that I did not understand what you are saying. Okay, so this is the first step where my ego gets hurt. If I am an egoistic person, my ego gets hurt at this step number one itself, that I have to first of all admit that I have not understood it. So I have to admit, I have to accept to you. So this is number one where my ego gets hurt. Second step is going further. If I accept that I have not understood something, then I have to convey that to you. And I have to request you to please explain once again, or I have to request you that, please explain it in more detail. I have not understood it, or somehow I am not able to agree to what you are saying. Please explain it to me in more detail. So I have to, you can say, a kind of request to you, right? I have to ask you, I have to request to you to explain it to me again or in more details. So again, my ego gets hurt. Why should I request you? Why should I ask you? Right? So what I do is, if I'm an egoistic person, I find a simple way out. I first of all tell you that I don't agree with you. Right? This is number one. And number two, I put the entire blame on you. That you don't have a good convincing power. Because you did not convince me properly, that's why I couldn't understand this. You did not convince me properly, that's why I did not agree to this. Otherwise, I would have understood, otherwise, I would have agreed. So, what is happening here is, instead of me trying to make efforts from my side to understand or comprehend what you are trying to tell me, I am expecting you to make efforts from your side to make me understand what you are trying to say. So how I'm not saying that this person, suppose I am saying this, I'm not saying I'm doing it deliberately. I may not be doing it deliberately. I might be behaving totally unintentionally. Otherwise, I might be a very good person. But here, my subtle ego is acting even without my consciousness. So this is how ego plays in this concept of convincing power at times. That I can basically, when I say that you did not convince me properly, the entire blame of me not agreeing with you or me not understanding what you are saying is put on your shoulders. Or even if there is some misunderstanding, for example, you tried to tell me something and I misunderstood it. remember, I misunderstood it. Again, I can put the blame on you that you did not express properly, you did not have convincing power, you did not convince me properly. That's why I misunderstood it. So it's your problem, not mine. On the contrary, the truth is that it was me who did not take necessary efforts to understand what you are saying. I did not make necessary endeavors to comprehend what you were trying to tell me. Right? So this is why I said that this concept of convincing or convincing ability is somewhat, I'm not saying totally, but somewhat in some occasions it is based on the foundation of ego. Going further, say down the line, say 6 months, 1 year, 2 years later, I realize that what you were telling me was right. I did not agree at that time for some XYZ reasons. But now I realize, say after 2 years, 1 year, whatever it is, that what you are telling me is right. What you are saying is correct. But now if I have to come back to you and accept that, what you were saying was right. I did not understand that properly at that time. But now I realize that what you were saying was absolutely right. Again, my ego gets hurt because I have to accept that I was wrong at that time. Or let's not go into right or wrong. Basically, I just have to accept that, I did not understand you properly, or I should have agreed with your opinion that time. But I didn't do that somehow. But now I realize that what you said was correct. So again, my ego gets hurt. So if I'm egoistic, what I'll do is again, even in this step number 3, even after a period of say 1 year, I will say that you did not convince me properly that time. That's why I did not agree with you. So even if I realize that you were telling me something for my benefit, and because I did not agree with you or because I did not listen to you, I could not benefit myself, or I incurred a loss, for example. So instead of taking the responsibility for that, again I'm putting the blame on you. That you did not convince me properly. You had a poor convincing ability. That's why, see, I am incurring a loss now. If had you convinced me properly, I would have agreed with you. I would be benefited. See, I am at loss because of you again. So, this, it's a kind of a game, I would say, which people play, or it's a kind of trick. So, the basic purpose of making this video is that to make you realize that you should not, I would say, fall victim for such games of people, because you will find this everywhere in all the settings. People try to blame each other for their own mistakes. People try to put blame on each other for their own shortcomings. This is very common. So in this, basically in this blame game, this concept of convincing power, or so-called poor convincing power, is just one of the tools to manipulate the other person, which some people use. So the purpose of this video is to make you aware of this, game, which some people play. And if you find that the other person is playing this trick with you, or the other person is trying to trap you inside this trick, and put the blame totally on you, when you know that it is exactly the opposite situation, then you should be aware, and then you should be able to handle such people and such situations properly and with confidence. Because if you are sure, if you are confident that you did your best, you try to convey your message at the best of your abilities. So in that case, you should be aware that, okay, now since I did my best, but still this person did not get convinced somehow, that means the fault is not with me. I tried my best, right? So this was the purpose of making this video. So if you like this video, then please share it. Please like my video. Please, whatever thoughts you have, whatever opinions you have about this topic, please share them in the comment section below. See you in next video with a similar interesting topic. Till then, goodbye. Take care. God bless you all. Thank you.